currently a sophomore at Hickman High School, and this is my 10th year playing the violin. The violin is part of my every single day and who I am. Not only is it an incredible, expressive instrument, it also keeps my brain and intellect stimulated, whether that be through counting, technique, or phrasing and interpretation. It also allows me to channel my feelings into the world and communicate such a variety of ideas through the many compositions out there for the violin, which is why I love it so much. This is why I'm so excited to play for the Odyssey Baroque Concerto concert on February 17th. I will get to play a solo with an orchestra, which I've never done before. With an orchestra, a performance takes on a different color and sort of grandness that comes with a backing full of different instruments and sound qualities. That said, I'm also looking forward to what new things I will learn about the piece that are simply revealed through the parts that different instruments play in communicating the story. I will be playing the piece Scène de Ballet by Charles de Beriot. The composer spent most of his career in Paris as a soloist, teacher, and composer. In fact, this romantic piece is arguably his most famous work. I personally love this piece because, like I said, it tells a story. It's not just one movement of a concerto that embodies a singular purpose, like a fast last movement or a slow lyrical one. Instead, it is a singular piece that moves through several different themes and feelings and has a lot of contrast. There are also a variety of techniques. One is ricochet. Another one is stopped bow. Double stops. And very lyrical and beautiful passages. There are also several short cadenzas where the solo is free and unaccompanied. Arguably most important to the style and purpose of this work lends to its name, Scène de Ballet. It could be compared to an orchestral suite where the themes from a whole ballet or opera are compiled into a single piece. The first section after the brief introduction is the Adagio cantabile. As the name suggests, it is a slow lyrical passage in 12/8 time. The word cantabile means sung or singable. For the solo itself, it means the phrasing and style should be singable as well. I often sing this melody to get an idea of where the harmony is leading, as well as the shape of the line. The next significant section is the tempo di bolero, which is very contrasting to the beginning. The tempo is moderate, and the word bolero means a form of Spanish dance characterized by sharp turns, stamping of the feet, and sudden pauses in a position with one arm over the head. It has roots in tango and rumba dance. In this case, the main rhythm and feeling is boom, chaka chak 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 chak, boom, chaka chak 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 chak. Another significant part is the waltz. It encompasses a few different melodies, but overall is of course a waltz with 3 beats per measure and emphasis on beat 1. The coda is the allegro appassionato, which is followed by the più animato until the end. Animato means to speed up rapidly, and più means even more, so the piece, starting from the coda, races and grows in excitement until the very end. So this is only a brief summary of the parts of the work, which is full of so much variety for the whole 10 minutes. I hope this explanation helps you understand why I love this piece and what it contributes to music. I hope you enjoy the performance, and thank you so much for watching.
Hello, my name is Emma Iwazaki, and I will be playing in the February 17th Baroque Concerto series. I'm a current junior at Rockbridge High School. I started playing the piano in Japan because my neighbor had introduced me to her teacher, and so from there I really began to play the instrument. Growing up, I was always surrounded by music, not necessarily through just the piano, but also through formal training with classical ballet, which I had also started around the same time. And so being involved with both classical music and classical ballet, one of my all-time favorites was the Nutcracker. Every time I performed at the Nutcracker with different ballet studios and companies, I was always allured by it, no matter how many times I had to perform it every Christmas time. I think I realized after a while that it wasn't just the flow of the movement from the dance that I loved so much, but also the music that was surrounded around the dance, the melody that flowed from Tchaikovsky's music. And it really influenced the way that I thought about the pieces and, how I wanted to express them. And I think that was the first time that I had a realization that I wanted to continue pursuing music into my future and continue playing it. And so for this concert, I will be playing Saint-Saens Piano Concerto No. 2. To be truthfully honest, before starting this piece, I'd never really listened to, Saint-Saens except for his famous cello piece, The Swan, and by playing with the Animal Carnival with Odyssey, where I played some pieces in it, like Aquarium and Fossils. But this is truly the first time that I really got to sit down and I learned his pieces more seriously and even tried to understand him more as a musician, and then also what motivated him to write some of the pieces that he did. And so upon starting this piece, I began to learn more about him, like his background. He was known to be an extremely great and talented at piano, but also the organ, and he also wrote many different kinds of pieces, ranging from concertos, chamber works, piano solos, symphonies, and I think even operas. And so I really understood his background knowledge when I heard the background through the orchestral part of the concerto for the first time, where the resonance from the orchestra is really astonishing because it kind of highlights different expressive means and adds a deeper meaning into the piece, kind of from the contrast from certain dynamics to the flow of the melodic line that kind of conveys more intimacy and elegance towards the ears of the audience. So then as you go on to listen to the piece, you also realize that the orchestra creeps in and out. Sometimes it's a cadenza, sometimes the full entire orchestra is heavily involved in the piece. And I think this is what makes this piece kind of fascinating because you don't know what's going to follow or what's going to come next. And it almost creates a suspenseful feeling. And also, knowing that Saint-Saens grew up throughout the 19th century to the 20th century, I realized that this was a time where there was a lot of uncertainty and, in a way, societal ignorance in France. And so throughout the concerto, there are a lot of times where you might feel worry and grief, but also moments of lightheartedness and elegance that's being conveyed throughout the whole storyline. And so, but as the piece moves on, there's also a lot of buildup of tension that kind of stacks as the tension rises and falls, which also follows with moments of agitation and an anger that eventually slowly resolves, and then you feel like you're back to this relaxing state, and also you can breathe normally now, but then all of these moments also is part of creating this ambience of the time period and really reflecting the unstableness of this time within the French people. And so I think the reflection of that piece, throughout this period is breathtaking and mesmerizing. And also, along the ways of learning this piece, I did have a lot of difficult passages that I had to deal with, some with the balance of the right and the left hand, certain adjustments that I had to make with my fingers, with forming individualities and voicing. Octaves are also always challenging for me because I have smaller hands, so if I practice too much, I build a lot of tension, which isn't necessarily a good thing. But outside of that, I really want to play this concerto in a way where I'm able to emulate Saint-Saens' piece and how he envisioned this piece through the atmosphere that he created within the time period. And I want to emphasize his way of expressing his music. And I want to really produce sounds that are not just within the notes, but really more that is created outside of the notes. So I am really looking forward to playing for the first time with an orchestra, and I really appreciate all who have put a lot of work and effort into making this happen.
Hi, my name is Kristen Yu. I study the viola with Professor Leslie Perna.
And I'm Hazel Keithahn, and I study with Siri Geenan and Scott Yu. We're both juniors at Rockbridge High School, and we are so excited to be performing with the Odyssey Chamber Music Series Concerto Performance again. I won in 2019, the first year that Odyssey held the competition.
I won in 2021 with the piano, but due to it being during COVID times, I performed with the piano accompaniment, so I'm really looking forward to performing with an orchestra this year.
And playing here together our second time makes this extra special. Kristen and I are founding members of the Cloud9 Ensemble, which has been our chamber group since 2016 and a very special part of our lives. We all grew up very close, and after the seniors in our group went on to study music in college, we wanted to continue making music together as a duet.
Our piece, the Sinfonia Concertante, is a hybrid concerto/symphony. Mozart was a very musical man himself, having played several instruments like the oboe, piano, horn, and many more. He also had lots of composing experience, including Sinfonia Concertantes. Something unique about the development of this violin-viola duet is Mozart's love for the viola. The audience can hear its transposing part through the scordatura, which means tuning up a whole tone, which its intent was most likely to brighten the sound of this instrument and also increase the volume to complement the violin sound.
Mozart composed the Sinfonia Concertante at Salzburg around 1779 when he was in his 20s. This has 3 total movements, and we are going to be playing the 3rd movement, Presto. The Sinfonia Concertante is very playful, very light and joyful, and we have a lot of fun incorporating our friendship into the music as if we were joking around. Since our parts rarely play at the same time, it's usually us alternating the same part but different octaves in sort of a conversational way.
This pattern helps us channel the ways we communicate in real life and also help deliver Mozart's dribbling characteristic to the audience through the conversations we have with our phrases.
Our coach, Scott Yu, has always encouraged us to listen to each other while playing, and just like in a friendship, listening to each other and maintaining communication has really helped us a lot.
It's been such a joy to work with each other, Scott Yu, and the orchestra, and we're really looking forward to the performance. We hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
The cantata this year is Cantata BWV 191. And although this cantata may not be well known to everybody, you will definitely recognize the music if you are a Bach lover and have had some familiarity with the great B minor Mass. We believe that the music for this particular cantata was originally written around 1732, early 1730s. And then about 10 years later, Bach used this music for a cantata that we think was performed around Christmas time. And then by the late 1740s, when he completed his B minor Mass, these 3 movements are almost note for note in the B minor Mass, the 3 movements. So you'll recognize right away when you hear these magnificent 3 trumpets, 2 flutes, 2 oboes, and a complement of strings. And you'll hear the initial theme, and you'll think, I'm going to hear the B minor Mass. Well, you're not going to hear the whole thing, but about 15 minutes of the B minor Mass, almost note for note. The first movement is so you'll recognize that theme. The middle movement is the duet in the B minor Mass. It was Domine Dei, and here's Gloria Patri. Again, the music is almost identical. And then we close with the exciting Sicut erat in principio that you will recognize, I'm sure. Typical Bach, you hear quite a bit of imitative material, some fugal sections. It has the most heart-rending melodies and then some of the most amazingly complex, but very listenable. It's easy on the ear. I just can't think of anything more fun to do for 15 minutes than to participate in the performance of the Gloria in Excelsis Deo. Again, I'm grateful to Odyssey, I'm grateful to have the choir, and I'm grateful to have the orchestra together that we can prepare this music and be a part of something that is really unique, that is something that is just exciting to be a part of an artistic community presenting this for you. So I hope you will join us, and we look forward to performing for you and participation from you as an audience member in this performance. See you there.